Section 1 of the Georgics. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Lucy Kempton. The Georgics by Virgil, translated by Harriet Waters Preston. Book 1, Part 1. I will try, Maecenas, a song of rustic things, of the growing of gladsome crops, and the favouring star for turning the sod and binding the wanderings of the vine to the elm, and the care that oxen are, and the zeal of him who maketh his flock increase, and the lore of him who nurtures the thrifty bees. O ye most luminous powers, whom still the year followeth in its march along the sky, O lights of the world, Bacchus and Ceres dear, through whom earth bringeth forth abundantly. Oaks of Chaonia yield to the corn and vine, and draughts of the Achelous are mixed with wine. And ye, field-haunting fawns, whose gifts I sing, dance hither, fawns, dance hither, each dryad maid, and help me. Help me also, thou, O King Neptune, whom once the smitten earth obeyed, and gaping under the trident's mighty blow, sent forth a furious horse from the depths below. Dresser of groves, I will even call on thee, whose herds by the hundred, with hides all snowy white, browse the lush brakes of Ceos, and favour me, thou shepherd Pan, by Menelaus thy delight. From lawns Lycian, I from thy leafy home, O Tegean, arise, arise and come. May Lady Minerva of the olive lend her aid, and the young lord of all the hooked plough, and old Silenus, with uptorn cypress tender, and rural divinities all, attend me now, who bring to the growing fruits unsown and new, and shed on the sowing the largesse of heaven's dew. Thou too, O Caesar, of whom we know not yet, where in the halls divine thy place shall be, whether a city's guardian thou be set, or one of the gods who shelter husbandry. And thee the mighty circle of earth salute, as monarch of storms and giver of all good fruit. Or yet as deity of the unmeasured main thou comest, binding thine own brows the while with the beech myrtle of thy mother, vain to other shrines the seaman to beguile. For Thule serves thee, and one of Tethys' daughters brings thee as bride a dowry of all waters. Or else mayhap in the lagging months and burning, thou springest as a new star to heaven's height, just where the Virgin from the Scorpion turning makes entry for thee. The fierce claws disunite before thee, and the grasping monster yields his unjust holding in the celestial fields. Whate'er thy lot, for Tartarus may aspire to no such ruler, nor thou to that sad throne, though Greece the Elysian glory so admire, nor hearkeneth Proserpine her mother's moan. Make smooth my sailing, favour my bold essay, pity the hind with me, assume thy way, begin to hearken to mortals when they pray. With the running of cold hill streams in the early spring, and the crumbling of clods at the touch of the western air, bid thou thy bullocks begin their labouring at the plough, and hail the flash of the cleansed share, whose land hath twice felt sun and frost, shall house barn-bursting harvests in answer to his vows. But, ere we cleave with the iron that unknown sea, learn we of the winds, and the weather's changeful face, and what the ancestral haunts and habits be of things that grow, the loved of every place and the rejected. For here springeth corn, and there, anon, the exuberant grape is born, and everywhere the unbidden green we find of grass and tender saplings. Tmolus groweth sweet saffron, know'st thou not? And ivory, Ind. The soft Sabaean his own frankincense knoweth. Nude Pontian men bring iron, and the beaver strong, Epirus palms, for the Elean mares of song. For still upon chosen spots hath nature lain rigorous bonds, and the yoke of a changeless law. Since ever Deucalion flung his stones amain over the empty early world, and saw straightway the obdurate human race arise, give then to the austere earth thy energies, bid thy stout oxen, while the year is new, turn the fat soil and let it open lie, till dusty summer have baked it through and through with his ripe suns. thou shalt use differently thy churlish land, nor toss it to the light, or ere Arcturus rule the September night. So shall not weeds thy abundant harvest harm, nor some slight moisture fail the sterile spot, but on the alternate seasons hold thine arm, and the field newly gathered assail thou not. Suffer it rather for so long to lie fallow and thirsty under the parching sky, else, in due time, the yellow grain renew, where erst the pulse with its gaily quivering pods, or the rustling leafage of the bitter lupin grew, or tiny vetch upborne upon fragile rods. For oats and flax, they tell us, exhaust the ground, and poppies in their Lethean slumber drowned. Thus turning about makes easy all thy toil. Drench then with dung the desert, nor stay thy hand, but fling abroad o'er all the outwearied soil the grimy ash. And lo, the relieved land bears newly, even as that thou hast not dressed, thanks thee from out the fullness of its rest. Oft, too, it boots to burn an unfruitful field, till the light stubble with crackling flame be spent, whereby, may happen, the turf is made to yield the hidden wealth of its utmost nutriment. All noxious damp is bidden to transpire, all vice expelled by the purging of the fire. For whilst the burning opens the myriad ways, mysterious pores, whereby the young plant is fed, and whiles endures the veins their gaping stays, so the fine rains it nevermore shall dread, nor ardour of sudden sunshine work it ill, nor surly Boreas with his piercing chill. He too shall gladden the land who breaketh up the slumbering glebe with rakes and harrows of osier, and ruddy Ceres from the Olympian top cheer him who smites the furrow's long exposure, crosswise again with plough reversed, and wields with keen intent the sceptre of the fields. But pray to the gods, ye tillers of the ground, for weeping summers and winters fair and dry. The dust of winter maketh the grain abound, and Mysia does exult, and throned on high Gargarus is dazed by his own fruitfulness. And shall I praise his love and labour less, who ceaseth never, but hard upon the sowing hath all his furrows level lain, howso they sterile be? For the streamlets in their flowing he to his garden plot beguiles, and lo, from the grooved summit of the hill the wave descends, the feverish dying blades to save. And over the polished pebbles murmuring deep it comes, to heal with spray the scorched plain. Him also will I ever in honour keep, who, lest the stalks sink under the weight of grain, feeds down the luxuriant plants, when first they lift their tender faces above the furrow's rift, and likewise him, by bibulous channels draining the stagnant waters of the unwholesome fen, when, in the season of doubtful sun and raining, a full flood goeth out, until the plain be strewn all over with slime, and the young seeds rot in poisoned hollows, reeking with vapours hot. Even so heavy the cares of tillage be to man and beast, however versed in toil, and still behoves to hover incessantly about the crop, lest wanton geese despoil, or cranes of Strymon, or unillumined shade, or bitter succory the field invade. The Father of humankind himself ordains the husbandman should tread no path of flowers, but waken the sleeping land by sleepless pains. So pricketh he these indolent hearts of ours, lest his realms be in hopeless torpor held. For ere Jove's day no hind the land compelled, nor might he stablish a landmark, nor divide his holdings from his fellows, but all, as one, wrought without question, and the earth satisfied richly their needs. Now those old days are done. Jove to the serpent his black poison gave, bade the wolf prey, and lifted the angry wave. And he smote from the trees their honey dew, and hid the fire in the rock, and the running rivers of wine shut in straight channels. And all these things he did, that man himself, by pondering, might divine all mysteries, and in due time conceive the varying arts whereby we have leave to live, seeking his food by the plough, his fire inviting out of the rocky fastness. Also then it was the conscious rivers began delighting in aldercraft they had grown, and sailor men numbered the stars, and called them all by name, the Pleiads, the Hyads, the lights of the bear aflame. And the ways were found to snare and lime the steps of the wood's wild things, and to gird the glades with hounds, and to fling the casting net in the river deeps, and to drag the drenched lines from the sea's profounds, and to set in the wood the saw with steely edge, where men of yore had cloven it with the wedge. Other arts followed, for lo, unflinching toil, backed by stern need, the world hath overcome. Ceres appointed the tillage of the soil, when failed the acorns out of their leafy home. The holy arbutus vanished, and no more Dodona nourished the faithful as before. Yet even upon the grain fell plagues ere long, mildew defiled the stalks, and everywhere the barbed thistles gathered in lawless throng, till villainous weeds displaced the harvest there. Caltrops and cleavers, darnel, wild oats forlorn, darkened the gracious glistening of the corn. Wield therefore a tireless rake against the foe. Scare birds with din, pay vows to heaven for rain. Shred thy plant's leafage, lest too dense it grow and dark. And thou consider with longings vain thy neighbour's mighty gathering, and assuage, as in the forests of the primeval age, under a shaken oak thy hunger's rage. End of section 1.